Um,
Yeah.
Gimel
Gimel Dalad.
Daled. Okay.
Oh
Similarly,
wait, sorry, not Gimel Dalad. It's Gimel Aleph. Gimel Aleph.
oh, that's what I
Uh,
thought. Okay.
Dalad is the new one.
One may eat a chance meal from the dough until it is rolled with wheat, and until it has been kneaded into a cohesive lump with barley. Once she has rolled out the wheaten or kneaded it into a cohesive lump, that of the barley, one who eats of it is liable to the death penalty. As soon as she pours the water, she lifts off a challah, provided that there are not 4/5 of flour there. Now, if her dough became a duma because she rolled it out, it is exempt because the duma is exempt, and after she rolled it out, it is liable. If a doubt as to uncleanliness arose before she rolled it out, it may be made in uncleanliness, but after she rolled it out, it must be made in cleanliness. If she dedicated her dough before she rolled it out and redeemed it, it is liable. After she rolled it out and redeemed it, it is liable. If she dedicated it before she rolled it out and the treasurer rolled it out and thereupon she redeemed it, it's exempt because at the time when it is redeemed, rendered liable, it was exempt.
Right. Okay, so that timeline is very reminiscent of some other stuff that we saw in Masros, which we're going to see in exactly the next Mishnah. Kiyotsebo hamakdish perosav ad shelo ba'o le'onas Masros. So if somebody sanctified his produce before it came to the time of Maser, upadan, and immediately redeemed them, they're still chayav in Masros. Mishe ba'ola onas masros. If they were already chayav in maser and he redeemed and he sanctified them and immediately redeemed them, they're still chayav because the chiyuv came onto them when they were in his private possession. Ikdishan ad shelo nigmaru ugmar and a gizbar. So he sanctified them before they became liable, and then while they were in the property of Hekdesh, they ripened and reached the stage of Masros. Upadan, and that point,
Mm-hmm.
so at the time that the chiyuv kicked in, they were Hekdesh, and Hekdesh is exempt from Masros. Okay, so Mishnah, hey, nochri shenasan l'Yisrael lasos Isa. So a non-Jew gives flour to a Jew. So this is the flour. I'm sorry, just a second. My daughter is calling, but I'm going to say I'm going to think. No, what's it? Okay. Right. So the Nokri gives flour to Israel in order to make a dough for him. So let's say it's a Jewish baker.
Okay.
So just give me a second. Okay. So now this is patur from challah. He doesn't have to take challah from the non-Jews dough. Okay. Just like because the whole dough that belongs to the goy is he doesn't have the mitzvah of challah.
Well,
Misana
that's
lo matana.
I find that interesting because I always thought because I thought that once a Jew is making challah with dough, making bread, anything, he's making it, he's doing it. I thought he would always have to take challah for it. Now this is saying that because he's going to be giving it to a non-Jew, he doesn't have to do it then. Am I correct?
So ask me the question again. Let me just get the order right.
I thought that because he's making dough, he's making a challah, he's making a bread, that he would have to take challah because when you
Right,
make
but it's not his flour. That's the point here. It's
oh,
not
that's
his
okay, right,
flour.
right. I didn't
So
realize that.
yeah.
I,
If it belongs to the non-Jew, then there's no chiyuv on it. Just like what else if something belongs to a non-Jew? If you have a bechor that belongs to a non-Jew, there's no.
right. Okay. I didn't
It
realize that.
doesn't get, okay. Um, okay. So if he okay, if however the non-Jew gives it to him as a gift, actually gilgel, if he gave it to him as flour or before it's reached the stage of gilgel, okay, chayav, misha gilgel patur. After he's finished rolling it, and then it's patur. So in other words, what again we're looking at it's the same equation we're looking at. At what point did the chiyuv of challah fall onto the dough?
Right.
And whose possession was it in? If it was in the goy's possession, it's patur. If it was in the Jew's possession at the time, it's chayav. Okay. Ha'osa isa im anochri, if he's joining together to make a dough with a non-Jew. Im ein b'shel Yisrael kashir chala patur min chala. So now, if the two join together, they put their money together to buy flour and dough and make a dough. And now you want to know, do you have to take challah from your portion? It depends. It goes pro rata. So if the Jew's portion is five logim, then you have to take challah, and if it's less than that, then there's no need to take challah. Okay. Mishnah Vav ger shenisgayer. What happens if you have a ger? V'haisalo isa, and he had a dough before he converted. So you can see where this is going. Nases ad shelo nisgayer. If the dough had been made before he'd converted, he's pater because it was a goy's dough. So the chiyuv came in and he wasn't Jewish. Mishna is guy, obviously, and if it happened after he's already converted, then it's chayav. Im safek. Now, what happens if there's a doubt? How can there be such a doubt? He went to mikveh, so his wife was at home making the dough, and she was busy rolling the dough at around the same time as he was going to mikveh. Okay, so now we're not sure whether he got into the mikveh before or after she finished making the dough. So now when you've got a safek, chayav. But ein chayavin aleha chomesh. So there are two aspects to it. One is when you have the dough, there are two aspects to it. There's one is the isser for a non-kohen to eat it, and the other is the chiyuv of having to give it to the kohen because there's a monetary value of it. So there's an isser value and there's a monetary value. Okay. And there's also the so we say for sure he's not allowed to eat it. Therefore, he does have to give it to the he does have to separate challah from it. Okay, but ein chayvim alei chomesh, and there's no chiyuv of chomesh if he accidentally ate it. Remember, with both truma and with challah, if a non-kohen accidentally eats it, he has to replace it plus a chomesh.
Right. Okay.
Okay. But in this case, since it's a safek, then it's since it's a safek, there's no chomesh involved. Okay, we don't. I'll touch on my Karen. She can do. Just trying to see if there's anything else in here. The chala's safek. So Karen chayav l'shalom. He still has to pay the Karen, just like somebody who steals from his friend. But there are those who explain about the matter of the Karen. It's a kapara when you have to pay for truma. So therefore he has to separate it, the tashlumin and they made truma misafek. Okay, but he can sell it to the kohen. Remember he can sell this truma to the kohen. Why? Because it's a safek, and he can say to the kohen, "Prove to me that it was rolled after I became a Jew."
Right. Okay.
Right. And motzimei chavero alav haraya. We always say that motzimei chavero alav haraya. Mochrem lekohen. Okay. Rabbi Akiva omer hakol holech achar hakrima b'tanur. So now Rabbi Akiva goes back and looks over all our previous Mishnayos, and he says, no, you're talking about rolling the dough. It's got nothing to do with rolling the dough. It's about when it forms a crust in the oven. Okay, so everything so Rabbi Akiva says everything that you learned about rolling the dough and it depends on when it rolls, change it. He says change it to the point where it's been baked in the oven and it started to form a crust. As soon as it starts to form a crust, that's when the chiyuv of challah sets in. Okay, and the halacha does not follow Rabbi Akiva.
Oh, interesting.
Okay.
I have a question on the Mishnah before. It's
Yes.
I don't know, it's probably a crazy question. The Jew and the non-Jew, all right, they're really in these times, and today also, I guess, you're not supposed to eat with a non-Jew. You're not supposed to sit down and have a meal and break bread. No, you
can break bread. No, they never asked at breaking bread. They asked at drinking wine with him.
Just wine?
Just wine. The pas akum is a chumrah nowadays. I think there was a time when they, And pas akum is prohibited from a private owner, but pas palter, bread from a non-Jewish bakery. I mean, that's how Jews lived in Galus for like centuries,
Right.
because they didn't have the bakeries. They had to rely on the professional non-Jewish bakers to make bread. And it's a really easy thing to give hashgacha to a bakery, because mistama, they're just using flour and water and yeast and whatever else. They're not putting in any fancy ingredients. It's just bread after all. So it's very easy to give a hechsher to a non-Jewish bakery. You don't even need a mashgiach tzmidi. You just need to make sure that the ovens that that
Right.
whatever
Right.
they're putting it on is clean,
Right.
and that the oven doesn't have anything else in it at the time.
I was thinking of the whole thing that came out about you shouldn't socialize with non-Jews. You shouldn't,
So that's what the wine, that's
with
what
wine.
Gezerah of Stam Yainam is about. Yes.
All right. So my question would be if they did they baked this bread together, all right, and the portion that the Jew had to do, he took challah from that portion.
Yes.
Right, and now the non-Jew, they're sitting there, they're eating this meal. All the food is kosher because the Jew is the one who got the food and everything. Everything is they're just sitting there eating it. And then he gets to a point and he says, I really can't eat any more bread. You take the rest of the bread. Take it. It's a gift for you. But no
Okay.
challah was taken from that guy's portion. So is he allowed to eat that bread? Right? No challah was taken from the non-Jew's portion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But we saw that explicitly in the Mishnah. Yeah, go back to it says Nasana law matana. If he gave it to him as a matana, ad shelo gilgil. If it was before he finished gilgil, chayev. Umisha gilgil pater. If it's already been baked and now the guy gives it to him as a gift, that's fine. Pater.
Even though the challah wasn't taken on his portion.
That's right. It's his pater.
That's what I wasn't sure about. Okay.
That's what it means. It's exactly what it means. Your case there is exactly what the Mishnah is talking about.
All right. Good. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Master Shani.
Master Shani, hey Yud Base.
I have not eaten. I have not eaten of it in my morning. However, if I did eat it in the morning, I cannot make the confession. Neither have I consumed any part of when it is unclean. However, if it did separate from it when unclean, he cannot make the confession, nor given of it for the dead. I have not bought from it coffin or shrouds for the dead, nor have given it to other mourners. I have hearkened to the voice of the Lord my God, and I have brought it to the chosen house, and I have done according to all that you have commanded me. I rejoiced and caused others to rejoice with it. Look down from your holy habitation from heaven. We have done what you imposed upon us to do. Upon us, do you also want? You have promised us. Look down from your holy habitation from heaven and bless your people Israel, with sons and daughters in the land which you have given us, with dew and rain and with the offspring of cattle, as you swore to our fathers, a land flowing with milk and honey, that it might impart flavor to the produce. Hence they said, Israelites in Mamzerim make the confession, but not proselytes. They freed bonds, nor freed bondsmen, nor since they did not receive a share in the land. Reb Meir says, nor priests nor Levites, since they did not receive a share in the land. And Reb Yossi says, they have the cities with outskirts. Okay.
Masters Aleph Dalet.
And among vegetables, cucumbers, gourds, watermelons, cucumber melons, apples, and citrons are liable, whether small or large. Red Shimon exempts the citrons when they are small. When bitter, they are liable. Sweet ones are exempt, and when sweet ones are liable, bitter ones are exempt. Which is their threshing floor in regard to myceris? Cucumbers and gourds, once the fringe is taken off, if he does not remove it when they have been attacked, melons when they have made smooth, and if he does not make them smooth when he lays them out to dry. Vegetables which are tied in bundles, once they have been laid in bundles, if he does not tie them in bundles when he fills the vessel with them, and he does not fill a vessel once he has gathered all that needs. A large basket when he covers it, and if he does not cover it when he fills up the vessel, and if he does not fill up the vessel once he has gathered all he needs. When does it supply? When he has taken it to the market, and if he takes it home, he may eat of it a chance meal until he arrives at home. Dry pomegranate seed, raisins and carobs when he stacks them in a heap, ovens when he peels them, and if he does not peel them when he stacks them in a heap. Grain when it is smoothed down, and if he does not smooth it down when he stacks it up in a heap. Pulse when he sifts it. If he does not sift it when he smooths it down, even though he smoothed it down, he may take from the fragmented and from the sides and from what there is inside the husks and eat. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. We are
Kilayim.
lion. Olive. Wheat and darnel are not colliding with one with the other. Barley, oats, spelt, and rye, beans and chickpeas, bitter beans and vegeling, white beans and kidney beans are not colliding one with the other. Cucumber and cucumber melon are not colliding one with the other. Rabbi Yehuda says colliding. Garden lettuce and wild lettuce, endives and wild endives, leek and wild leek, coriander and wild coriander, mustard and Egyptian mustard, or Egyptian gourd and bitter apple, or Egyptian beans and carob are not colliding one with the other. Turnip and radish, cabbage and cauliflower, beet and aoric are not colliding one with the other. Rabbi Akiva added garlic and wild onion, lupin and wild lupin are not colliding one with the other.
Okay.
Okay.
Nagayim.
Okay. All houses become tamei from the Gayim except those of Gentiles. Houses acquired from a Gentile should be examined initially. A round house, a triangular house, a house built on a ship or on a mast, or 4 horizontal beams do not become tamei from the Gayim. But if it was 4-sided, even if it is on 4 vertical pillars, it becomes tamei. A house that one of its sides is covered with marble or with bedrock, bricks, or earth is tahor. A house that did not have stones, wood, or clay when a nigger appeared on it, and then they built it, brought into it stones, wood, and clay, is tahor. Similarly, a nigger that appeared on a garment that was not 3 finger breadths by 3 finger breadths, and then he wove it to be 3 by 3, is tahor. A house does not become tamei from nagayim unless it contains stones, wood, and clay. How many stones must the house have? Rabbi Yishmael says 4. Rabbi Akiva says 8. Rabbi Yisrael used to say until it is the size of 2 grist on 2 stones or on 1 stone. Rabbi Akiva says until it is the size of 2 grists on 2 stones, not on 1 stone. Rabbi Elazar Baal Shimon says until it appears the size of 2 grists on 2 stones or on 2 adjacent walls, 2 grists long and 1 grist wide.
Avos.
He would say a 5-year-old to study scriptures, a 10-year-old to study Mishna, a 13-year-old to observe the mitzvahs, a 15-year-old to study Talmud, an 18-year-old to go to the wedding canopy, a 22-year-old to chase, a 30-year-old for power, a 40-year-old for understanding, a 50-year-old for counsel, a 60-year-old for old age, a 70-year-old for ripe old, and an 80-year-old for strength. A 90-year-old to be stooped over, a 100-year-old to be as if he died and passed away and ceased from this world. Okay. It's interesting he only uses 100 because they were supposed to say until 120.
Yes.
So, Ben Bagbag says, delve into it and do not stir from it. You can have no better portion than it. Ben Hay says the reward is...
You skipped a line, I think. Just say Ben Bagwag again.
I skipped the line. Ben Bagbag says, delve into it and delve into it, for everything is contained in it, and with it you will see and grow old and wizened with it. And do not stir from it, for you have no better portion than it. Ben Hey says the reward is commensurate with the exertion.
Okay.
Okay, the sages, another line. The sages taught the following.
That's it. We're done 3. And the last 2 were pretty short, but those were 2 Mishnayos.
Well, that's funny. There was only
you
2.
got Ben Bagwag and Ben Hey in 1 Mishnah.
Yeah, and then I have a line after that say this: the Chachamim taught the following chapter in the language of the Mishnah. Blessed
Yeah,
who chooses
that's right. So that's our hakdama to Perek Vav in Avos, is that it's actually got some Amorayim in it.
So that's it now.
So it's not a proper Mishnayos. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So in my edition, Ben Bagwag and Ben Hey are 2 separate Mishnayos.
And now the next one is Reb Meir.
Yeah.
Right?
So the whole, actually, Actually, like I think Rav Haber said that basically almost everything in Perek Vav of Avos is actually Rav Meir.
Oh, okay.
But it does quote some Amoraim in it. Anyway, let's move on to Kesubos.
Okay, so we don't. If she says, I was injured by a piece of wood, and he says, no, not so, but you were deflowered by a man, Reb Gamliel and Reb Eliezer say she is believed. Reb Yeshua, however, says she is not believed. Rather, it is presumed that she had been deflowered by a man until she proves her claim. If they saw a woman talking with someone in the street, and they said to her, what is the nature of this man? And she replied, he is so and so, and he is a Kohen. Reb Gamliel and Reb Eliezer say she is believed. Reb Yeshua, however, says she is not believed. Rather, it is presumed that she has been intimate with a Nissanite or a Mamzer until she proves her claim.
Right. So the question over here is not just like Medaberes Imechai B'Shuk. She actually went into Yichud with him. Okay. So now the question is she now Pasal Kahuna? And because if she's had relations with a goy, then she's Pasal. And Rabbi it breaks along the same lines. Where she's got a bari and everyone else has got a shema. So we say no. If she claims that he was a kosher yid, we say kohen just as the extreme example of a kosher yid. Then she's believed. Again, Rabbi Yeshua says the same thing. We don't take her word for it. We suspect that maybe she had relations with a nasin or a mamzer or a goy, unless she can prove that this guy was a kosher yid.
If a woman was pregnant and they said to her, what is the nature of the fetus? And she replied, he was fathered by so-and-so, and he is a Kohen. Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Eliezer say she's believed. Rabbi Yeshua says, however, she says she is not believed. Rather, he is presumed that she is pregnant from a Nissanite or a Mamzer until she proves her claim.
Okay, so that's it. That's three. Just to look at that. So once again, does she believe? Do we believe that the vlad is a kosher vlad?
Right.
So is there any further discussion on this? Because I was thinking that this might be different because it also has nafkaminas on the kid, but I don't see any. No, there were no subtleties on this. No. Okay, that's it. So we take a word for it that the father is of whatever yichus. Which is also. It's quite remarkable that we actually follow the halacha like Rabbi Gamliel and Rabbi Eliezer, not like Rabbi Yeshua.
Right.
That we do trust her and we're not looking for psulim. Okay, that's us.
Have a great day.
You too. Good day.
Bye.
Bye.